Trying to buy a violin can be a really overwhelming process. And honestly, it makes sense. The violins can cost anywhere between $40 to $23 million. So where do you even start? Today, I'm breaking it down from absolute beginner level budget all the way to the professional level gear. In this video, I will walk you through where to shop, what most people overlook while testing the instruments, what you should expect to spend depending on your level, goals, budget, and future upgrade needs. I will also show you how to spot the hidden gems on places like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, or even pawn shops. Let's start with the easiest option, shopping online on places like Amazon or Share Music. Convenient? Definitely. But it's not foolproof. You cannot touch the instrument and therefore get a feel before you buy it. Second option, go to a local music store. They often carry a student level violins and you can try them in person. The challenge is that the staff in this type of stores knows more about trumpets and banjos than about violins. Third, go the DIY route. Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, youth orchestra parent groups, or buy from an older student that is upgrading to a different size. Cheap? Yes, but also risky if you don't know what to look for. And finally, the high-end route, visiting a professional violin shop or luthier. This is where the best instruments live and where you will find the most reliable quality across all price points. Here's an example of a cheap violin you can buy online. This instrument was sent to me by a company called Van Gogh. You can purchase it on Amazon for roughly $100. Let's look. Why is this so cheap? For the money, you get all those extra accessories. Shoulder rest, rosin, mute, extra strings, extra bridge, bow, and a nice violin case. So where do they cut corners to make it happen? Wood grain makes it look like it's made out of plywood. Real violins have finely grained spruce tops. Take a look. You can see all those lines. On this violin, nope. Purfling. Purfling is this line that goes along the edge of the violin. On a professional level instrument, this is an inlay that actually has a function. It prevents instruments from developing cracks. It sort of acts like a hem on a fabric. It prevents the wood from fraying. On this violin, we have a purfling that is very nicely painted on. Pegs are unfortunately poorly set. On a good violin, pegs should sit flush or just a bit proud so they hold the tension properly. On this violin, you can see that there is some room for improvement. Bridge. See the gap between the bridge feet and the top? That kills vibration transfer. The good news is that bridge on this violin is not very thick. I've seen a lot worse, so that's a plus. Fingerboard. Not real ebony. Probably painted hardwood. It will wear quickly and doesn't function the same as a real ebony fingerboard. So yeah, I would call this more a violin-shaped object rather than a real instrument. Most overlooked element when trying violins. As an amateur car racer, I will say this: the tires, brakes, and suspension matter way more than the engine for the performance. And in the violin world, the bow is your suspension. It makes a huge difference. Let me show you. Pretty big difference, right? So if you're upgrading from a basic setup to the next level, I always recommend to buy the bow first and then the violin. I will make a video on that soon, so stay tuned. If you're browsing Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, or buying from a family friend, be cautious. Here's a basic checklist for things to look for. Cracks or signs of repair. Cracks on the violin top, if properly repaired, diminish instrument's value by 10 to 20%. Cracks in the bottom plate, 50% or more. Is the sound post standing upright and placed properly? Is the bridge straight or warped? Are the feet fitting flush to the top? Is the fingerboard made out of real ebony? Can the violin be tuned, or the pegs are either stuck or slipping? Are the strings dull, rusty, or fraying? Does the label say Stradivarius? It's probably not one. Think about this process like buying a used car. A cheap car that needs brakes, tires, suspension work might become a money pit. So can the violin. If the asking price is anything more than $300, I would highly recommend that you take it to a professional shop for inspection before buying. Here is a rough guide for what to expect that you're going to be spending on a violin. $40 to about $500 is where beginner violins are priced, like this Van Gogh violin. As you could hear, it functions like a real violin. It's actually playable, it phonates. It's not the easiest thing to play, but this kind of instruments are great to use them in the school orchestra, especially if you're a little clumsy and you drop your instrument often. Although I would buy a carbon fiber bow rather than keep the bow that came with this. It's also great to take this kind of instruments for, I don't know, camping trips. If you just have to move your fingers and you don't care if the bear goes and eats it. For real performances, especially if you're playing solo, I would probably look into the next tier that we'll be talking about. $500 to $3,000 range is where the real violins start. Those instruments are going to allow you to develop much better playing skills. They respond quicker. They actually can make you competitive in the youth orchestra auditions or solo competitions. $2,000 plus. Professional territory, quality wood, refined tone, hand-carved bridges, all that good stuff. Why violin shops are worth it? If you're serious, go to a proper violin shop. They will let you try many violins side by side. You will learn what you like. Plus, they usually offer trade-ins, rentals, and ongoing support. It's a relationship. It's not just a transaction. One word of advice about testing the violins in a shop. Testing rooms often have a lot of reverb, so any violin can sound really good in that kind of environment. To develop a well-informed opinion, I would suggest to take several violins to your teacher, play them in your church or a concert hall. Use them in an environment that you're going to be playing them, and that way, when you buy the violin, you will buy the one that you truly love. Why a good violin holds its value? A well-made violin from a reputable shop can hold its value and sometimes even appreciate over time. The wood matures, the sound improves, and the instrument can become more desirable. Think of it like buying a fine art or a classic car. If it's taken care of, it becomes more than just a tool. What to listen for when trying violins? Let's start with clarity of tone. What to listen for? Clean and focused notes versus fuzzy, nasal, or hollow ones. How to test it? Play slow scales and open strings. Listen to the core of each note, especially on the A and E strings, where poor instruments tend to sound tinny or shrill. Projection. The best way to do it is to go to an actual concert hall and hear what the violin sounds like in the performance conditions. Color and the warmth of the tone. What to listen for? Does the violin have a rich, warm sound, or is it overly bright, cold, or flat? Some violins are more dark and mellow, others are brighter and more brilliant. This is often a matter of personal taste, but extremes on either side can be limiting. Evenness across the strings. Are the strings even on this instrument? When I play a scale from the bottom to the top and back, does it feel that each string sort of has the same resistance, or does the feel change? Responsiveness. What to listen for? How quickly does the violin respond to your bow? How easy it is to play really fast runs, legato or spiccato? And finally, is this instrument comfortable to play for you? There are differences sometimes in the size of the neck, the setup, how high and or low the strings are, and that all affects how the violin feels to play. There are some instruments that project great, but they are hard to play, and vice versa. So finding something that fits you and your playing style, it's very important. Now, sometimes we need few days to get used to an instrument, so taking it home and playing on it for a while makes a big difference. So if you can, please always try to do that. Bonus tip: if you can, try to record yourself on decent equipment, maybe something better than an iPhone, in a performance space. That gives you a really great feedback. What do you sound like when you play that instrument? It can be very surprising. There are some instruments that in a room like this, they don't particularly sound impressive. You take them into the concert hall and all of a sudden they just sound like rocket ships. So yeah, if you can do that, go for it. If you like this content, then please hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel. There will be more coming. Let me know, what did you like? What would you like to hear more about? I'm always open to suggestions, and I hope to see you next time.